the Balls Podcast
with Mark Davis, Krista Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Good evening. It is Tuesday, October 1st. Happy October, everyone that's listening to the boys in here tonight. Man, it's been a while. It feels like. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls Podcast. And like I said, it's the fucking best time of the year. It's October through to December time. Halloween season, the spooky season's out here. If you celebrate Halloween and all that stuff, what's going on? Pumpkin patch is going on. Corn maze is going on. But I'm joined alongside Jake Winnikine, Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. And, man, what a wild weekend we had of college football. That started Friday night with Miami and Virginia Tech. We're going to talk about that at the second half of the show. And, of course, the NFL. Jake, your team, I'll start with you. Your team, the 49ers, went in and home and took care of the New England Patriots. Also, shout out to the University of California as they get the first time ever in their nation's history college game day against the Miami Hurricanes. So how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting too much stock in the Niners beating the Patriots. I mean, that's a given game. So they haven't impressed me yet. But, yeah, shout out to Cal. It's a big moment for them, especially there was rumors about them losing their football team
Last couple of years.
And, so here they are, getting game day. So it's big for them. Awesome moment.
Beast mode needs to be the celebrity guest picker.
Gotta be.
It's got to be. I know you mentioned Deshaun could be like a sleeper one, and that's fine. But if Beast mode is available, you go get Beast mode, and he pulls up in the cart too. He needs to pull up in the cart.
Has to.
Doc, how are you doing, man? Florida State once again, they are dead. I don't think they can fucking hit a boat of water or a fucking lake of water if they fucking were in the water. With the ball. The Illinois team, I understand they fell short, but hey, still a good loss, in my opinion. And then the Bears, welcome back to the win column. Doc, how are you feeling?
Yeah, not a bad weekend. Florida State did exactly what I expected Florida State to do with the dog shit quarterback that we got. I'm going to be honest. With this piece of shit under center, I'll be surprised if we even hit 500.
I think he's out this week, by the way. I think he's out.
If not, someone needs to take a fucking crowbar in the locker room and help this team's chances because we're about to go sub 500 with this fucking asshole. But, no, yeah, Bears won. Illinois, Illinois played better than I thought they did. Would have liked to see a little bit more offense turn, but, Penn State, what are you going to do?
Yeah, no Luke tonight. He says it's not because of the debate, but I think it's a lie. I know Doc was able to put the debate. He missed the last one, Jake. I think Doc's a VP debate's not as big. I think Luke's out there watching it. I can't promise it, but shout out to his Ravens, though. We're going to talk about them. Big win. Chris is not here. He had some things come up in. I think he's avoiding the Saints-Falcons. He didn't want to hear about my Atlanta Falcons, now 2-2, going in, hosting the New Orleans Saints, winning that game on the longest field goal in the stadium's history, in Mercedes-Benz Stadium history by Mr. Koo out there. And the Texas Longhorns, they are 5-0 going into the off week, looking to host. We're going to go into the Cotton Bowl and play Alabama. And Quinn Ewers is back, so we'll talk about that as well, if there's any controversy going on there. And, before we talk, though, man, just want to say we did lose two members in the sports community, two legends. I think September 30th. I think both days, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Dikembe Mutombo.
They were both yesterday.
Yeah, Dikembe Mutombo and the Hit King, Pete Rose. Both passed away. I'm not a huge basketball. I didn't watch either of them, but Pete Rose, in my opinion, man, should be in the Hall of Fame. I think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame now, and I think it's disgusting that they're going to wait until, like I said, I've been saying it for years, they're going to wait till he passed away, but not sure how Pete Rose passed away. Mutombo was brain cancer. So, it sucks to say. Doc, I know you're a big baseball guy. Jake, you are too. So losing Pete Rose, big, I think, for the baseball community.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. Pete Rose, an absolute legend. It's funny you got a guy that bet on the sport, never bet on his team to lose, so he wasn't throwing games. But football, you bet on football, you go ahead, just take a year off. No big deal.
He took the ban, so I think there might have been more to it, but still, like, he bet on his team to win.
It wasn't. It was because he didn't admit to doing it. That's why.
And it was as a manager. It wasn't even his playing career. So, like, the whole playing career, he balled out, and that's why he should be in the Hall of Fame. Hit King, fucking 3 World Series.
He 100% is the definition of a Hall of Famer and should be in the Hall of Fame. It's such a joke. I mean, they take this. I mean, it wasn't throwing games. They take this betting stuff to the next level. I mean, you got Von Miller in the NFL got a 4-game suspension for beating up his pregnant wife.
Is that what that was?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's been the process for months and months and months, but that was the outcome. He beat up his pregnant wife and he got a 4-game suspension. But you got Pete Rose, one of the best hitters of all time, not in the Hall of Fame. Come on.
Yeah, I didn't even look into I thought it was drugs to me. I thought it was like performance enhancement. I didn't even look into what it was. But no, I mean, it sucks. The same thing with Mutombo, man. Mutombo was one of if you listen to everyone talk, he was one of the most genuine guys, like pretty much in the basketball community. He was he was like not a clown, like as an idiot, but a clown as a jokester. Obviously, the slam dunk competition, him being judged, for many, many years. Like he was obviously a great player on the court as well. I mean, helped Philly get to the NBA Finals, and like a lot of people said, if they didn't play the Lakers, they might have won the finals. If they didn't have to play Shaq and Kobe, they probably would have won against any team in the West. So,
what makes it so much worse with him too is like he was like 58 or something. Like he was still young.
Yeah,
it just happened too. Like I think he just got it within like last couple months. I think right, a couple of years or something like that.
What was it? What caused it?
It was brain cancer.
Brain cancer.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it came out like excited. I think I heard a video that came out like 2 months ago, and so it must have progressed pretty far.
Or he caught it late, and it was already in the late stages or something. But
yeah, but boys, we're gonna start off the show with a little bit of trade rumors that started breaking. I mean, kind of last week, Devontae. I mean, so let's kind of rewind it back after week 3, right? Devontae or Coach Antonio Pierce from the Las Vegas Raiders came out and said that some players made some business decisions, and now we're going to make business decisions going forward. And then all of a sudden, the hamstring of Davante Adams flared up during practice. The very end, like the week, I think Wednesday or Thursday, he was ruled out. And then nothing. He was on the sideline for the Raiders and Browns game. Didn't look like he was causing any distractions. And then yesterday on Monday, people were kind of speculating he was going to be traded. It was kind of his last snap. And then they said a couple hours ago today that, hey, we're going to acquire some trade offers for him, second-round picks as value, maybe some other compensation. And then Davante Adams comes out just hours after that and says, I want to trade. On Kay Adams, too. God bless Kay Adams, by the way. But they were on the Kay Adams show talking about pretty much kind of like hinting at he was going to be gone. So what do we expect for this Davante Adams? What team should he go to? What team should call for him? What teams would you like to see him on? And how did the Las Vegas Raiders let this get so far? In 2022, they brought him in with Derek Carr. 2023, they let Derek Carr walk. And now 2024, which, Doc, you were here last year. We were kind of calling Davante Adams to be traded last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we were all kind of calling that. We're a year late now. But
we've been calling it since Derek Carr got traded, because that was the whole reason he went to Oakland was to play with Carr. So I don't know. It's tough. I mean, when I look at where I think Davante is going to go, I mean, the Rams is a great destination. They need a wide receiver with their entire offense being up on the shelf. I mean, Packers had their lucky run last year, but they could use, let's see a homecoming back to Jordan Love. They could use a bona fide number 1 wide receiver to take this team over the top. I mean,
I still think he's a number 1 too, Doc. I keep saying I think me and Jake argued, Doc, that I still think Adams is the top 5 receiver in the NFL when healthy on a competent team.
Oh, no doubt. And my biggest place that I think he goes, Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are when Namo Rasheed Rice is going to be out for like the next 5 years, thanks to Patty Mahomes. Friendly fire there. So appreciate that, because they got nothing left. Worthy's going to be wide receiver 1. I don't know how he won't be. And I think that it's going to be time to scramble, give up a second-round pick, get you another bona fide receiver that's going to take you to the next level. And especially Kelsey not pulling his weight.
Well, Kelsey did look good this past week. Looked better. I think, Doc, though, if the Chiefs do, I think they're going to up that deal, because it's the Chiefs. They're going to probably ask for a first. They're going to, because there's no way you just give them for a second to the Chiefs. I mean, that's division rival. I've been telling you guys, me and you're on the same page. I think the Chiefs would be a good team for them, but do you trade them in division? Do you help your rival essentially? The easy answer is
maybe get the right compensation, yeah.
And I think the easy answer, obviously, is the Jets. Like that is probably the betting favorite in Vegas right now.
And here's the reason why the Chiefs do why the Raiders trade him to the Chiefs. The Raiders are not in a position to win now. And by the time the Raiders can build and become win now, Davante Adams will be long retired.
Yeah.
I think Davante Adams going to the Jets would be a serious mistake for Davante Adams. I mean, the reunion with Aaron Rodgers would be good, but you know what? This Jets team has so much more wrong with it than Davante. I'm going to be honest. Saleh needs to go. Saleh and whoever's calling plays needs to go. They are not utilizing Breece Hall. When you got a premier running back in the league, we're talking Bijan Robinson type running back. We're talking Jahmyr Gibbs, explosive dual threat, and to get like 40 total yards out of this guy. You're not using the pass game. You're not using him in the run game. A receiver is not going to help this team. We talked about it last year.
We did. Yeah, we did.
We talked about it last year. You know, Rodgers was a missing piece, right? Because with Rodgers, it opens the run game. It opens this and that. It changes the dynamic on the field. It hasn't done that. They look good in the game, and that was the Patriots. You cannot be excited about that.
Well, the problem, though, Jake, I knew you were going to tag on this, is play calling sucks, and that's Nathaniel Hackett. How the fuck are you on the 1 yard line? And I get it. You got Breece Hall, a great running back. You have Braylon Allen, who is proven this year to be a thumper. Why the fuck is he not the one pounding it in from the 1 yard line? Why are you forcing Aaron Rodgers to get cute with it and do all this? Like, I get it. The cadence issue was a problem, and Aaron Rodgers addressed that today on the Pat McAfee show. He wasn't trying to call nobody out. It got misread. That's typical Aaron Rodgers' answer. But, Jake, I think play calling in New York is I think that's the problem. It's the play calling. And the O-line kind of looks lost, too.
Oh, yeah, it's pathetic. But hold on, I didn't get my Devontae talk. Hold on. Let me go back to Devontae real fast. It's a mess. It's done. He's 100% out of there. And I don't know if him and the coach got into it, but the coach is liking tweets about trading Davante Adams. And it wasn't a mistake. Like, it wasn't deleted. I mean, it was legit. Like, it's a for real thing. Like, Davante's like, he never even called me about it. So it wasn't a mistake. Like, he's making it known, like, yeah, you're out of here. But I agree with Doc. The Jets is a terrible, terrible place. Because for Adams, I mean, the Jets obviously will want him, but he's going to run into the same situation he just ran in with the Raiders. Rodgers has what, a year, 2 max left? I mean, he looks garbage. So we don't even know if he plays next year. Then Davante Adams is going to be there with a trash team and a trash quarterback again.
Yep. But
Rodgers will come back because he'll think with Davante from the start that they'll have something to do. But let me put a little something into perspective for you, okay? Let me talk to you about how good this Jets offense is. And this was with 30-plus points in the blowout against the – what was the score of the Patriots game?
That was a lot to a little.
Wasn't it like 42-10 or something? Didn't they score over 40?
I'd have to look. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking we were going to talk.
I
was ready for week. I was ready.
Because I want to make a point here.
It was 24-3, Doc. Aaron Rodgers, real quick, I'll tell you the stats. Aaron Rodgers was 27-35, 281, and 2 touchdowns.
Let me put it to you this way. Who is the team that you would never guess would have scored more points than the Jets so far this season?
Washington Commanders.
Giants.
The Bears.
No. I was high on your. I've been high on the offense.
I know, but they ain't been high. Yeah,
no, they haven't.
We're gonna talk the guy you should have drafted. We're gonna talk about him shortly, but that's the reason why.
You think this Jets team? Okay, you think this Jets team? Now the defense has been doing well, 62 points. But you think Davante Adams changes this much? Nathaniel Hackett's still gonna call dog shit plays. Saleh's still not gonna make shit happen and go up for his bro hugs and get pushed away by Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right. That shit is funny as hell, by the way.
Rodgers is not feeling that one.
Rodgers was not.
I think Adams opens the door though to get this.
Oh, dude, we said that about Rodgers last year.
Because with Garrett Wilson, he's being fucking doubled, and the field tilts towards him. If you get Adams, you can't double team. It's kind of like Waddle and Hill. You can't double team.
I'm going to be honest. I'm starting to question whether the skill is there for Garrett Wilson.
Oh my God!
I'm not on the train yet. I see what you guys are saying, and I'm holding my breath because I want to see better execution and better play call from the team before I'm going to give. Now the Zay Flowers conversation, Doc kind of agree with me. Like he said it before, Zay Flowers, when you mentioned it, Jake, it's not him. It's the scheme in general. It's kind of why Hollywood Brown wanted out, because they were running.
Because they don't have a quarterback to throw them. Zay Flowers is, in my opinion, has all the talent and the capabilities to be a top receiver in this league in the future. And You got RB1 trying to throw him the ball. He ain't getting the plays. He ain't getting the opportunities. He's getting held back. Zay Flowers got to go. I'd be requesting a trade of Zay Flowers, but he might do
he could do Hollywood Brown soon. But I think with Garrett Wilson, I think it's just too early with it. I mean, it's kind of year one with Rodgers. I get he's only probably gonna have one more year with Rodgers. But I think Adams helps. I think Adams is gonna help
you
solve.
You put up 9 points against the Broncos.
Hey,
there is no saving that. Devontae Adams ain't saving that.
By the way, the Broncos defense is quietly a top 3-4 defense this year. Just throwing that out there.
I know. Fantasy.
I mean,
too.
Yeah, fantasy number 2, but like in NFL, they are up there. But I want to go back to this real quick because we're talking Devontae Adams. I think 2 teams, boys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Washington Commanders could be 2 teams.
Commanders, I could see. Steelers, no, they don't have. He would get more underutilized with Justin Fields than he would with Minshew.
But I agree. Making the move, and I think he would play for a guy like Mike Tomlin. I think
like if we're talking stats wise, yeah, it's a terrible move for Adams. But I could see the Steelers as an organization, yes, going after him. I mean, they were after Ayuk hard, so obviously they want a receiver.
Well, anybody be crazy not to go after him, other than the Texans, the Bears. I can count on one hand how many teams don't need to go for him.
Doc, you said it all off season. There's a team that outside. I mean, yeah, Jameson Williams had some good flash plays and he's had some explosive plays. The Lions are like top 5, 6 in cap space. They have money. Why not go get Devontae Adams? And now you're loaded with Monron St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Sam Laporta, who got involved with it yesterday, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Like, how are you going to guard that? Like, the Lions should be all over this right now, too. If you want to win now, especially with the way the product's gone, it's a lot more parity in the NFL. The Lions, if they go get Devontae Adams, they catapult to me to the number 1 favorite at the moment. I swear, if they go,
you think Devontae Adams going to wide receiver too?
Doesn't matter. It's not. I don't think it's him. His ego is not going to care about one. It's going to care about being in a team. And Dan Campbell knows how to run a fucking team. It looks like. And Ben Johnson's a great play caller. You go to a situation that's going to benefit the whole team, including himself.
Do you really need him when Jameson Williams is balling out?
Yeah, you do.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's
Jameson Williams doing everything you need out of a second receiver, and he ain't going to do any more benefits you out of the flex. So what are you going to bring in? What are you going to bring in? You have 2 guys.
No, you get 2 guys on the outside, and Jameson goes to the slot, and then it's a perfect situation. It's the greatest. It'd be the best trio of receivers right now. Plus, Sam Laporta.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
I don't.
Yeah, I think the Lions.
Jameson Williams is having a good year. All right,
I'm not saying he's bad.
I am. Jameson Williams is not proving shit other than this year.
I'm not saying he's not playing bad this year. I'm saying though, you get more talent so that no one can go double team on St. Brown. You can't worry about you're so loaded that no one can double team these guys. It creates up so much space for Jared Goff, who looked good last night. If you get that you're going to see a better Jared Goff as well.
I mean, obviously, it makes any team better adding Devontae. I just don't think it's that big of a need for the Lions. They got a good thing going. They got team chemistry. They got a good thing going, and they have a lot of young guys to get paid. And
honestly, short
of
the last 6-7 minutes of last night's game, Detroit proved exactly what they were last year against this team: Swiss cheese in the secondary.
Their defense was not that. I mean,
Geno torched them, dude. Yeah. Maybe one touchdown, but Geno threw 400 yards last night.
Yeah, I mean, I actually was impressed.
Geno did. Yeah.
I you know what I'm saying? Like, this was the same thing last year. It's the same thing that I said. Now, I think I had Seattle covering the spread.
You did.
And for that reason, because this was the same show that we saw last year. It was just late antics and a huge missed PI call. Huge. We're talking like Ram Saints level missed PI call. Yeah, that was massive.
Join this club PI calls this year.
Yeah, the Lions need to be worried about their defense, not adding Devontae Adams.
And yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it's a sleeper team to watch because Adams only under deal. I think Kip said in the chat for 2 more years after this year.
Bro, David Montgomery ended that.
Actually, Doc, let's talk about that real quick before we go to Rashee Rice. I put the little stats up here about our boys Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, right? So. Because this is the week 4. This is the week 4.
I wish we could put a replay up of that hit, though. My God.
So Jahmyr Gibbs through 4 weeks, 54 rushes, 285, 5.3 on the ground, 3 TDs. Montgomery, 63 rushes, 271, 4.3 on the ground, 4 TDs. Okay. Receiving, Jahmyr Gibbs, 13 targets, 11 catches, 76, 6.9 on the ground or per catches, 1 touchdown. I will say Montgomery's doing better. 9 targets, 9 catches, 94, 10.4, 0 TDs. If you add it all up, 65 touches for Gibbs, 361, 5.5, 4 TDs. David Montgomery, 72 touches, 365, 5.0, 4 TDs. They're about the same, but just slightly better, 0.5 yards more for old.
Dude, you're breaking it down by a cunt hair.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
Yeah,
I don't care that much about it, dude. You're
I'm
not
just
going to
saying,
sit. You're not going to sit here and tell me that Jahmyr Gibbs is the better player, more explosive over less than half a fucking yard, dude. Stop. Next topic. Next
But I
topic.
will,
I'm not
say,
getting into this.
But I will say that
Jesus Christ,
they are the best 2 running back. They're the best duo in the NFL running
100%.
back. I will say that.
100%.
But-
And I'm not saying Jahmyr Gibbs
Yeah.
is shit, but they're both incredible backs in their own right. And dude, you're not. I'm not getting into this over less than half a yard. Come on.
Let's jump to a hot topic. The Kansas City Chiefs, right? We there was a lot of questions. There was a lot of questions last year with the wide receiver department for the Kansas City Chiefs, and then Rashee Rice. They did get him last year, and he looked good the second half of the season. He's looked great this year. He's been, in my opinion, the top 5 receiver in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, and what most quarterbacks don't do, they go for a tackle. Mahomes went to fucking lay out the guy that picked him off, and I think it was Christian Fulton, if I'm not mistaken. And Rashee Rice tried stripping the ball at the same time. The receiver moved, or the corner moved, and Mahomes lowered his shoulder. Perfect. It was going to be a perfect hit, too. Right into his thigh. You see his leg straighten up and was done for. They're fearing it's an ACL tear, boys. They have not confirmed it. They said some guy says ACL is fine. So no one knows right now what's going on with Rashee Rice. The question is, what should the Chiefs do? Doc, what are you going to say?
I don't know. Since we were talking about trade rumors earlier, I don't know if you heard LA is actually putting a package together to bring the Chief Killer over onto the defensive side of the ball for the Chargers. Looking to put a move together to bring Patrick Mahomes over the defensive side of the ball to be their number 1 tackler.
Yeah, Tony, if it's a torn ACL, he's done. Like, that's no question. And by the way, unfortunately, if he does tear his ACL, you're probably not going to see him until about week 6 of next year.
Yeah, ACL is like a 12-month minimum.
Well, not even that. He's going to be suspended most likely going.
Oh,
next
yeah,
year.
he's got that going too.
And I'm pretty sure that those games he's suspended for, if you're on IR, the suspension doesn't count.
I don't think that. No, it doesn't. The suspension has to be when you're active. I think that it's going to come.
Like
I think they haven't announced. They know what the diagnosis is. All right, it doesn't take long to get an MRI. They know what it is. I think that they're just not coming out with it yet until they figure out how bad the prognosis is. What kind of a timetable are we looking at? You know, is this something that's minor? We can do it in a week. He's out next week for sure. That hyperextension. I mean, there's no way. He's out. He's playing this week. Xavier Worthy. Congratulations, Xavier Worthy. You just got promoted to the starting lineup in 2 of my leagues.
Well, what should the Chiefs do, though, Jake? I mean, should they go? I know Tony mentioned Adams, which we talked about. So what should they do?
I think if you could, it depends. If the Browns still think that they're a winning team, then obviously you can't go after Cooper. But Cooper is going to be making less than $1 million this year. His contract. Cooper was his money was converted into like a signing bonus. So like it's right now it's $900,000, and then it says I think it's like at the trade deadline it's like $600,000.
Chiefs should go do it right now.
So I mean, Amari Cooper is a hot trade candidate because he's making no money.
Honestly, the Browns do have what it takes as long as they can get this defense figured out and get them back on track.
I'm done with the Browns. We're going to talk about them in a minute. I'm done with them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the Browns, but I think it just depends on them. If they still think they have a chance, then they're not going to trade Cooper. But I mean, Chiefs can afford him. Like that's so cheap, and it'd be a perfect fit. I mean, it's kind of a weird. I don't know. It's weird because normally the next morning if someone tore their ACL. Like you literally know the next morning. But also,
especially if it's negative. Why are you holding on to it if it's negative?
Well, remember, Jake, Doc said if it's torn ACL, you can walk on it. So
I did not say. I said I don't think it's torn ACL because normally you can walk off on it. I didn't say it can't be a torn ACL. Don't put words in my fucking mouth. But, it's about to get spicy on here tonight, dude. I swear to God.
I feel it's October, man. It's spooky season, man.
But it's just, I mean, it's weird either way. Like normally the next morning once you hear feared ACL, the original doctor felt his knee and felt the move. They know it was torn ACL. They usually know right away.
Tony keeps saying Adams. Tony, we addressed that. It's gonna be hard because like Jake's not believing the Adams because it's Raiders and Chiefs, man. It's rival versus it's like the Eagles and Cowboys.
But
it's like the Cowboys giving up CeeDee Lamb.
But it ain't like the Raiders got a chance, and Devontae don't have long enough left in the league
Yeah,
but every
but,
team wants him,
to
though.
burn the Raiders on it.
but if they're asking for a second round pick and you're trading with the Chiefs, you're looking at the last pick in the
64th
second
pick.
round. Yeah,
64th.
so I mean, it's not even a valuable pick if you're going
That's
with
true.
the Chiefs. Like,
You
it's
want a
not-
team that's borderline, maybe like 50s.
Panthers, baby.
Well, speaking of Panthers, Jake, those are two receivers right there, Thielen and Deontay Johnson. Those are names that are floating around for the Chiefs.
Barkley
Deontay
wasn't
Johnson
traded though,
makes
Tony. Barkley wasn't traded.
What about like we said earlier in the chat, T. Higgins?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Would the Bengals help the Chiefs? Would the Bengals do what the Bills have been doing for the last few years
And
and
the
help
draft.
the Kansas City Chiefs? Yeah, like see, and that's the things I think they'd be spiteful and just want to try and win because I think the Bengals truly think that they are playoff worthy. Every team thinks that, but you know what I mean. Like they were in the Super Bowl a few years ago. They really think that.
They got
But
to
it's
keep
just-
Higgins.
Yeah, but they're not going to sign him though. He's going to walk, and they're going to get nothing for him.
I know Doc's gonna hate this name. There's been a lot of rumors that, and I know he just got paid, and I don't believe it. DJ Moore is not apparently happy with it. You see his body language on the field. Would he be traded to the Kansas City Chiefs? Now, I don't believe it, but there's a lot of that's been floating around.
Let me go ahead
hours.
and just hit on that. DJ Moore apologized for showing the emotion on the field and explained that was wrong. He stood by his team. He stood by Caleb Williams, and he actually just came out and talked about how everybody went up to Waldron and talked about the play calling and how they needed to adjust. And he even came out and said it was clear that he listened last game. There was a huge difference in the play calling with utilizing the run game and getting DeAndre Swift back into the fold the way that we know he can be. Evidenced by 30 points on my bench. Shout out to DeAndre. Welcome to the bench and getting 30 points. I think my bench outscored my starters this week, so that was super exciting. But no, DJ Moore is going nowhere. I've heard rumors of Keenan Allen. I actually did hear a rumor about Keenan Allen, but I have heard nothing about DJ Moore. DJ Moore walked back the issue on the field, and he has had nothing but high praises for Williams and his effort. Especially in the quarterback room and in the play, in the game plan and talking about, the guy's a sponge. He's taking everything in. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. He's not there with a cocky attitude. Like, I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
He's not doing the, who was it that never watched the blank tapes?
Oh, Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's not doing the Jamarcus Russell there. Everybody's speaking very highly about the effort that Williams is putting in. The future is bright. You got to, what Jaden Daniels is doing right now, what CJ Stroud did last year. We've had this 2 years in a row now, but this is not a usual thing. Quarterbacks coming out this early and throwing up numbers, dominating is not a normal occurrence. It normally takes a couple years to get going. I'm starting to actually see signs that this can happen in Chicago. And I'm going to be no way DJ Moore, unless there becomes a cap issue coming up, there's no way DJ Moore goes anywhere.
Yeah,
Okay, we're talking about sideline antics. What about Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs? Talking about someone looking mad on the sideline.
there was rumors that Waddle could be on the move too. Saw that
Who?
one.
Tyreek
Jalen
Hill.
Waddle or Tyreek, one of them.
Tyreek looks
Well,
mad.
Tyreek was screaming behind Josh McDaniels, or not Josh McDaniels, Mike McDaniels. He was screaming behind him. Mike McDaniels, he's trying to ignore it. He's just paying attention to the field. But yeah, Hill was pissed.
And Tyreek Hill stays on podcasts like, "Oh, I miss the Chiefs. I wish I never left the Chiefs."
I thought Tua.
He only left the Chiefs because he thought he was going to Tom Brady in Miami. That was the only reason he went there.
I thought
Yeah.
Tua was the most accurate quarterback he's ever played with.
Well, he says that he even said about Skylar Thompson when Skylar Thompson. We got faith in Skylar. He's got a great deep ball. He just
Well, you
talks
gotta
to
say it.
quarterbacks. Yeah,
You
he's
have
got
to
it.
say
He's
that.
just backing his people, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah,
don't
he's
blame
doing
him
he's doing the right thing, backing his guy Tua up. No, even though he knows he's trash.
Well, I mean,
I don't think I'm not saying Tua's an MVP. I don't think Tua's trash. I don't think he's garbage. Because he puts up the numbers. I don't know if he does without Tyreek Hill, though. Let's be honest, because that cheetah just gets space and he's gone. But I think the biggest frustration is the fact that Tyreek can't get any fucking stability with the quarterback position on this team, and they can't put anything together. They can't put stretch together. You can't win when you ain't got your lead guy on that can stay on the field. You've got the run game. You're 3 deep in the run game. I like Wilson. A-Chain and Mostert are great. You got great receivers.
You know who's to blame for all this, by the way? It's Tyreek Hill. He had a very stable place in Kansas City, and he wanted to leave. And I get he wanted money, and Kansas City wasn't going to give him the Miami money, but he chose to take his talents and go to South Beach. That's what he chose to do instead of being with Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. So this is Tyreek Hill's fault. Just like it's Devontae Adams' fault, by the way, for leaving the Green Bay Packers. I get Rodgers had his little problems. That's why he was afraid of leaving. But he went to an incompetent franchise of the Las Vegas Raiders, just like Tyreek Hill did. I blame those. It's their fault. Honestly, it's their fault.
Yeah, but no, it's Miami's fault for paying Tua early. Why not let Tua play out this contract this year and then pay him? But no, you go and pay him before this season, all this crazy money, knowing he's one hit away.
But why would Tyreek want? Tyreek was going to get paid. He just wasn't going to get paid the max money he wanted. You're going to win championships, dude, and get paid, and be with a dynasty. Like I just don't get it. And he's not part of the dynasty. I mean, he's part of. He contributed, but he wasn't there when they fucking solidified as a dynasty. So he messed up.
He's regretting that decision. He knows it was a stupid move. I mean, that would be like in basketball. It'd be like Clay or Steph Curry leaving in the middle of that freaking run. Like, that was really stupid. Like, Chiefs were going to compete for years. They just signed Mahomes. Like, why would you leave? You're an idiot.
Anything else, Doc, on the Kansas City? Who'd say go target? Anything like that? Are we ready to hit off the next topic?
No, I think Kansas City. I don't know about Amari Cooper because I think
that's a dynasty, Tony.
I think the Browns still have the tools. I think Deshaun Watson is looking more like Deshaun Watson every week. Not that it's great by any stretch, but
not at all.
No, it's not vintage, but I mean he's looking better than he did when he started with the Browns, and he's going to keep if he keeps making the improvements, they'll get there.
They need O-line. That's what they need.
But no, I think we pretty much covered everybody. I just want to reiterate, DJ Moore ain't fucking going nowhere.
Well, let's go to the AFC North, boys. A lot of people have been talking, and talk it while you can, Luke, and other people on NFL. The Baltimore Ravens, after a 2 games, kind of like a 2-game struggle, they have ran the ball. Like I think John Harbaugh listened to the show. They've been feeding the beast. They've been feeding Lamar. They throw the ball. It opens up the passing game, what they do underneath, and then let the explosive guys, the fast guys, go down the field. A lot of people said now they're the best team in the NFL. I know we're 4 weeks in, but are the Ravens back to that status? Are they back to being the NFL's best, maybe the AFC's best?
I think the Ravens, they're going to get figured out in that run game. Teams are going to find a way to contain it and hold it down, as best you can. I don't think it's not going to stop them to nothing, but without having the passing game and getting – we saw huge drops from Mark Andrews in that game. I don't know. This guy, did he break his knee or his hands last year? Because I don't think he recovered from the hand breaks because there's still fucking bricks out there.
He's in a car accident, too, in the offseason. Maybe the accident triggered something.
Did it burn off his football gloves or what? Because, I mean, the guy can't catch worth a damn this year. And, Zay Flowers isn't getting utilized. I mean, this team's got to figure out – the run game is not going to work against everybody. It's not going to work forever. They got to figure something out.
Yeah. So, I mean, you hit it right on. That's what I had too. Like, for one, how are we talking about a 2-2 team being the best team in the NFL? For one,
You're not.
And they have
because no one respects really the 4-0 teams and 3-1 teams.
No, but no one respects the Ravens.
I definitely don't respect the Ravens.
So
I will say their defense would look better though. The defense has looked a little better the last couple of weeks though.
Ravens defense is always decent. Like,
they're like the Bears. They're a historically defensive team.
Yeah, exactly.
And a historically good running back team, which is evident by RB1 and RB2.
Yep. And as Doc said, I mean, that's my point exactly. The teams that can stop the run, Ravens are done for. You make Lamar throw the ball and it's game over. Like you stop that run and it's done.
The Raiders figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, teams that could that's why when it comes to big games, it comes to playoffs, the Ravens always lose because it's the teams that can stop the run.
The teams that are capable of doing it.
Exactly. That's when they run into issues and everyone's like, "Oh, same old Ravens," because when you play teams that can figure them out. When you play these scrubs or these teams with no run defense, the Ravens look like the best team in the NFL. Obviously,
not even same old Ravens, same old Lamar.
The thing is, to be honest, I don't know. I know we're 4 weeks in. I don't even have an answer to yes or no because I don't know who I trust. The Texans don't look that impressive at 3-1. The Vikings, they're looking good, but no one believes in them outside the Vikings faithful that they're going to do anything. That's what I'm saying. It's like we don't see him holding. Like the Niners, Tony said they're ass. Let's debate it. Like the Niners hasn't looked crazy impressive. My Falcons, Doc's Bears, the Saints fell off after their 2-game slid. The Bengals they fell apart. I mean, the Cowboys suck. It looks like the Eagles are falling apart. The Commanders are 3-1. Do we respect the Washington Commanders? We're going to talk about them soon. I don't know who to trust in the NFL this year. It's every week. It's a different name. Oh, this is a great team. This is a great team. I don't know who to trust.
Well, I think go ahead.
I was like, yeah, we don't know who to trust, but what we do know is to not trust Lamar Jackson. We know that.
Facts.
But I trust Derrick Henry, baby. I trust the beast. Feed the king, feed the beast.
I trust the Bills at 3-1. They got.
Do you trust them?
I trust the offense. I think that offense is strong enough to carry them through their missing pieces on defense.
I'm not gonna lie. I hate it. So everyone was quiet all fucking night on Sunday night, and I was waiting for one smart ass comment about Josh Allen because when Luke made it, he's like, "Oh, he should have." And I love it because when I mentioned last year that there should have been interceptions with Purdy, I heard all the people say, "Well, should have, could have, would have." Those aren't stats. Well, Josh Allen didn't throw interceptions last week, and if you watch the game, what else was Josh Allen supposed to do? You got receivers that can't catch it underneath. You got Keon Coleman that can't catch it fucking 40 yards down the field. Was it hit out of his hands by anything? It was a perfect throw. You got offensive lineman there. He can't stay in the pocket. He's got to run. The run game was irrelevant. What do you want Josh Allen to do? It's fucking 35-10. You want him to throw 5-yard passes? You have to throw deep passes to get back in the game. That's what he's trying to do. It wasn't Josh Allen.
I mean, it's not Josh Allen, but this is the Bills that we expected. I said all along that our defense took a huge step back. He lost his receivers. You're playing with some rookies. Like we're not saying that they're losing because of Josh Allen. But
that's another team that needs to go after Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that's I agree
the Bills. The Bills need to get, in my opinion, because that is a team that Devontae Adams can elevate into the next level and make them contenders.
And he's not a drama. He's not drama.
Yeah,
no, he hasn't been.
No. You put Keon Coleman to learn from him and shadow him. Hey, Keon Coleman can be the next Devontae Adams. He's the same up and down.
Shakir's doing pretty decent. I'm not. He's not obviously killing it like Malik Neighbors and all these guys, but he's looking decent. Like he's not looking like a scrub.
And the Bills should have money.
He's not on the topic tonight. He need to be.
The Bills should have money. They're not paying. Who are the Bills paying?
Well, I don't know what their money's going from. I mean, did they pay? I know they paid Milano. They paid Milano, and I know Josh Allen obviously is getting paid. But
yeah, Josh Allen got his. But I mean,
was it dead cap? Is it? I mean, is it a lot of dead cap?
It must be. Like I need to look it up because like how do the Bills not have the most salary cap? They're not. They have a lot of rookies and young guys.
Yeah, it is.
James Cook's not getting paid yet.
Keon Coleman, he needs to wake up, man. Like, and I get he's a rookie and whatnot, and I know we had the argument on the mock draft episode where I said I like Adonai Mitchell, and you guys all liked Keon Coleman. They literally were the same player in college both years, the last 2 seasons at their respective colleges. I just don't understand. This is no disrespect towards Keon Coleman, and I get he's a different receiver than Worthy, but Worthy makes that catch. Adonai Mitchell makes that catch. Xavier Legette, it's like they gave up. They let Worthy go to the fucking Chiefs, and they let Legette go to the Panthers. I was high. I'm not saying I don't like Keon Coleman, but you had options there, and I think that the guys there would help Josh Allen immediately. Not saying Coleman can't develop into it, but right now in the situation we're in, but back I don't know, man. Like, I don't trust any team. I just don't trust any team at the moment. That's the whole point of this conversation. I don't trust nobody.
You don't trust the Chiefs?
No, not yet, because I want to see what's going to happen with the receiver. Like, I mean,
he don't even.
We talked about this. We talk about this every week. He's done more with less.
I know that, but I want to see it this season. Like I know, I understand 2 years ago, like Chris made a comment. He's got Sky Moore and Juju. Let's see if he can do it. I was like, well, he did it 2 years ago. So I mean,
I don't know what you're seeing from Keon Coleman. That's not impressive. 4 catches on 5 targets for 51 yards in week 1, 3 of 4 for 51 in week 4. He had 1 target each in week 2 or 3. What are you seeing that you're not impressed that you're so high on Adonai Mitchell?
It's key drops, dude. Drop last night. If you don't, it was 20. It would brought to fucking 2
drop. He has 1 all year.
Yeah, that's a huge drop because the game is back. You swing the game back into the balance of the Bills.
I get it.
It changes everything.
Worthy hasn't dropped a single ball. Mitchell hasn't dropped a single ball.
Well, Mitchell doesn't get credit because he's getting fucking looks because he's got Anthony Richardson throwing the fucking ball. He probably doesn't even get looked at. I guarantee you, Josh Allen's throwing the ball. Yeah, it is. It's very fair. Yeah, it's very fair. Worthy, I haven't really seen him drop anything because
my point is, dude. You're talking. I get it. Big catch. You're talking about one drop from a rookie. This is not like a Quentin Johnson like we saw last year. All right, one drop from a rookie. Quentin Johnson actually having a hell of a year as far as catching targets.
We talked about the Minnesota Vikings. Are they, Jake, you mentioned it, man. You can run this away. Do they run the table, man? Very easy schedule, honestly.
Fucking defense is killing it. Defense.
Vikings' toughest opponents is their division. I mean, other than that, they got the Falcons, who, we're
dog shit.
We don't know. Exactly. We don't know what they are. Like we don't know. We have no identity at the moment on offense.
Seriously, their toughest opponents is the division. And they're going to get Hawkinson back.
And they went into, and it's a respectable. I don't give a fuck if Jordan Love came back or not. They went into Lambeau Field and they beat the Prince. And they beat.
Listen.
No, I don't give a shit.
Lambeau
brought him back.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying shit about Love. You going into Lambeau Field does not count until it's under 32 degrees. And bonus points if it's a white cap. Lambeau Field is different in that frigid cold. Lambeau in 60-degree weather, 70-degree weather ain't shit.
Well, guess
Same thing
what?
with Chicago.
Same
thing with Chicago.
Next time they play, it's in Minnesota. They don't have to worry about the cold against Green Bay. They're back in the dome. So, and they beat Houston, who everyone's high on. They beat the Niners, who everyone's high on. They beat three of the 4 teams they beat. People were high on coming into the season.
That's what I'm saying. And their hardest opponent. They get the Lions twice. Their hardest people on the schedule is the division. Their schedule is pretty easy.
This division's shaping up to run away with the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tony, fire the cannons, baby, because those Bucks are going to score nonstop on those Falcons.
No, I was going to say thank you, Tony, man. Yeah, October 27th, myself, my brother Tony, my brother Danny, and my uncle Al, we will be sitting on the 45-yard line. Tony said it's the Falcons sideline, and it's going to be the first or second row again, watching my team, the Falcons, and my brother Danny's team, the Bucks. So it's going to be a fun game, man. Can't wait. Third time I've seen the Falcons play, all 3 times in Raymond James Stadium. And all 3 different spots too. The stadium sat up top, sat in the end zone. Now we're sitting down low.
Were they all 3 losses?
1-1. We lost the first game, blown out, went to the end zone seats, and then we won the second season. We played them, but that whatever. But back to Minnesota. Yeah, this defense outside the hitman and a couple other guys. Like, can you name any fucking defensive players on the team?
I know they're playing team ball.
Yeah, Doc's looking right now. Like, Doc's probably pulling the depth chart right now. I saw that phase because I'm looking
at the points against because when I looked, it looked like they were like towards the top in the league for points against. I think it was 50 something.
Yeah, like this defense is great. Brian Flores is a great
59. Yeah, 59 points again. I'm pretty sure that's leading the league.
Thanks, Tony. No, man, they're a real deal, man. Not a real deal. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
They're third behind the Chargers and Broncos, 4th behind the Steelers.
Let's hit on this Duval County piece of shit team because they really have pissed me off.
Why are we even wasting our fucking time with this?
Because of the comments that the coach.
Good night, Tony. Love you, brother.
All right, Tony.
Oh, jeez.
We can't wait to get Tony back in. He might be joining us soon. We tried getting on the night, but he had worked late tonight. But no, the Jacksonville Jaguars coach Peterson was asked about the play calling, and he said, "I thought my guys called great plays. Us as coaches can't make the plays." That shots at the players, saying it's a 2-way street. So he's about to lose the locker room. Is that what I'm reading here?
I'm pretty convinced that the Jaguars are just spinning a wheel, kind of like a twister dial, and just seeing whatever it lands on. And that's a play. Like Christian Kirk, 10 yards, and then it fails. They have weapons on offense. They got a great running back in ETN. They got good receivers, in my opinion. Not great. They got good receivers.
They don't have a quarterback.
And no O-line.
No
O-line, no quarterback.
O-line, dude, you could put this team behind an entire city block, and Trevor Lawrence would still find a way to not get the ball to his receiver.
He seriously would.
His decision-making is terrible, man. It really is.
I play this team like you could have Ray Charles, like the all-century Ray Charles, Helen Keller team on defense, and would still lock down Trevor Lawrence. This guy is so. And Mark, what have I been saying since day one when he came out of Clemson?
Well, you and Jake both have said it. Yeah, I agree.
I know. I'm not saying I'm Jake. I'm just saying.
No, you both have.
Since day one, Trevor Lawrence is not the guy. Will never be the guy. He was the guy for about 15 minutes a couple of years ago.
Yep.
He started tanking again last year. I don't know how he got paid after the season he had last year.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that loss. I think obviously the head coach should have been fired yesterday. He needs to go. But I think that locker room was lost the second they signed Trevor Lawrence. I think the players were just as dumbfounded as all of us.
That's right, Emily.
Like he did not deserve that contract. He did nothing to deserve that contract. He was absolutely crap the second half last year. I have no idea how he just all
he got paid because the playoff win in the first half of last year. That's what it was.
That's bullshit. You don't get paid from one playoff win.
Guess what? Jordan Love did.
Jordan Love had a banger season last year.
That's
With nothing on offense.
I will tell you this right now. The same thing that Jordan Love did is the same thing Trevor Lawrence did. That's why I said I would not pay Jordan Love the max money yet. Because
I agree. I wouldn't either. He had 1 year.
He should have. Exactly.
That's like CJ Stroud came out in his rookie contract, played the way he did last year, and like we're going to give him a 5-year extension for $400 million.
That team hasn't looked impressive this year. Neither.
There's another quarterback in Philly that got paid way too much too soon too. But
Well, that Nick Sirianni, he's on his way out the door. Philly will wait
the thing about Jalen Hurts, though, the thing about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles is they do a very good job of controlling the clock. They move the chains, especially right. But when you look at the overall, especially last year, I know they tanked at the end of last year, but they played very well in the beginning, and they were hoping very much that he was not going to get Carson Wentz out of Philly with back injuries. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback. I think he's just fine. You get 35 to 4,000 yards from him, and the rushing game, the tush push, like what they do in Philly works. The defense had a lot of issues in Philly this year. Saquon Barkley's
run the ball. Just run the ball. Just run the ball like Lamar.
No, he don't. I'm talking on those short to game plays.
Jalen Hurts is just another Lamar Jackson, and if they had an amazing signing.
Oh, it's not nearly as bad.
It's bad.
No. First off, Lamar's better than Jalen Hurts. I take Lamar any day.
I think so.
I take Lamar over Jalen Hurts any day of the week.
They had a phenomenal signing getting Saquon Barkley because if they don't have Saquon Barkley, they're 0-4 right now.
I don't even care about stats, Doc. I'm talking just watching Lamar and Jalen Hurts play. I would take Lamar any day of the week. I don't care.
I'm not disagreeing that he's a better runner.
Jalen Hurts can't throw. Jalen Hurts cannot throw.
He has more receptions than Lamar Jackson does.
Hurts is terrible. Jalen Hurts is horrible. When he has to put the game in his hands and he tries to make plays, it's terrible.
Jalen Hurts is the third worst quarterback. Third best quarterback in his division.
You've also got a wide receiver like A.J. Brown that you try to force feed in the game time decisions, and when you're throwing the triple coverage, doing the old Jay Cutler in Chicago, you're going to get bad outcomes. It was.
He hasn't had him. A.J. Brown's hurt, and Hurts looks just as bad.
No, I know, but I'm talking like you look at last year with 15 interceptions from him. How much of that was force fed? How much of that's trying to force the ball somewhere?
Bet you if Lamar was on Philly last year, Lamar fucking goes off, and I don't think they struggle like that, like the way they did 12, like where they struggled the second half of the season. I think the Eagles might argue. If he was on the Eagles last year, I think the Eagles might only have 3 losses. That's how explosive they were.
4 rush yards from the quarterback. Yeah, you're right. Because
I think Lamar would be fine with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, though.
I think my boy goes to the Super Bowl if he was on the Eagles. Brock Purdy. I'm just saying.
I think any quarterback that's competent can go to the Super Bowl with that team.
Listen, if Brock Purdy now. I think the Niners are like imploding from the Ayuk drama offseason. I don't think they've recovered from all this and the distraction. And I think that CMC being out is a huge cripple because when you talk about a guy, when we talked about Aaron Rodgers opening up the passing or the run game and for Breece Hall and the play action and everything else, CMC is a guy that changes the nature of the game and how defenses play the game. CMC is that kind of a player. But you got George Kittle, he's doing everything he can. I think he's been looking just fine for where he's at in his career. Debo and Ayuk, I've not been impressed with collectively. This offense, And honestly, if Purdy can't find a way to get to the Super Bowl with this team and a top-down stellar defense that we saw last year, and I'm going to be honest, if Greenlaw doesn't get hurt last year, I don't know that the Niners lose that game. That completely changed up the defense.
But I think Purdy's been fine though.
Kelsey had one catch until Greenlaw went down. But
that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, this defense is so good and there's so many weapons on offense that the receivers can get their shit together. If Purdy can't figure out how to get to the Super Bowl with this team, he ain't doing it with any other team. There ain't another team in the NFL that he can get to the Super Bowl with.
But
it's not on Purdy. This is not on Purdy. Purdy is playing great. It's the receiver. It's the two number one receivers that aren't playing great.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But and also, when you tag on the CMC thing, don't forget that our entire playbook is built around CMC right now.
Yes, and it should be.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. But I'm saying that him not being available week 1 and the whole playbook built around him, we've had to change everything.
Mason looks good.
Mason looks good, but Mason's not CMC.
But Mason can't do what CMC can.
Yeah, not at all.
CMC is a guy you put the ball in his hands, and the game just changes.
Yeah, no, I agree. That he's a dynamic. He's one of the best.
As soon as he touches the ball, Vegas odds are shifting in real time in San Francisco's favor.
Every defense they plan all week for CMC.
Yeah,
like you got to worry about what is CMC doing at all times.
You know Purdy's going to go through the air. You know Ayuk and Debo are going to be targets. But you find a way to lock down CMC, and it's not to take away from the rest of the offense. But that is just the kind of impact player that CMC is. You find a way to shut down CMC, you can shut down the Niners.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. Let's jump to the NFC East, boys. Washington Commanders. They are 3-1, and they are in sole place in the NFC East. Jaden Daniels, best completion percentage in the NFL. And there was I was talking to an old Giants buddy of mine out in where I'm at here, and because he's a Giants fan, so Bill Parcells was there. Bill Parcells had a philosophy: I don't draft guys that didn't play. I think it was either 3 or 4 years in college. Well, Jaden Daniels played a lot of years in college. He's 50+ games. He has experience. He knows what he's doing. He knows that decision making. It's not a learning curve for him as much. It still is because it's the NFL compared to college. But this kid looks amazing. Should have been the #1 pick. I know we all agree on that. But this quarterback is carrying the Washington Commanders on offense. Defense is still an issue. Are the Commanders one of those sleeper teams this year where, like I said, there's a lot of parity this year that, man, they might go run the table?
As you said, we all agreed he should have been #1. We know that. Us three, right? Us three especially. But my thing is, they're a few pieces away. They're not running no table. They're a few pieces away. I mean, could a Devontae Adams be one of those pieces? Absolutely. Side by side with Scary Terry. But I feel like, I don't know if it's this game, if it's next game, there's some rookie moments coming. I think he's going to have a few rough games. I don't see this 4-game stretch continuing throughout the whole season. Like, he's going to have some speed bumps. But they're a few pieces away, and they're building. I love the pieces, upper management that they got. I love the players they got in the field. Like, they're building a good squad there. They changed the whole
ownership. It's the whole culture is changing because they brought the ownership. It's everything is changing.
Everything's changing. I agree.
It's great to see.
And they're a few pieces away from being some serious contenders because, Janos is amazing.
And wait till Dan Quinn gets a defense that he likes. Like, he hasn't got his pieces yet. Wait till he gets that.
And you nailed it right where I'm going with the transition there, Mark. My reason for why the Commanders will not sustain is that defense. You're talking about a team that's 3-1, the high-powered offense. You're talking a 19-point difference in 0.4 points against. So you're talking close games. You're talking about either getting blown out when you lose because the offense didn't get off. We talk about it with the Cowboys, and if Dak Prescott doesn't get off to a quick start, how the Cowboys just kind of crumble the rest of the game and don't really know what to do if they don't come out with that 14-0 lead halfway through the first. This defense is going to be what kills the Commanders. Jaden Daniels has been doing incredible things. The completion percentage is, his history says it's not gonna maintain. We know that.
Exactly.
It's not going to keep up. I don't think the points for is going to keep up. I don't think that this team, the run game, I'm not overly impressed with. The receivers,
Brian Robinson looks decent. I like Brian Robinson.
He looks decent, but I'm not saying they're bad. But they're not an elite backfield. I don't think that the receiving core is elite. I think that going after Devontae Adams definitely helps that, especially in a young team that did a fire sale and shed a bunch of cap last year. Definitely helps create that space to get somebody like him. But this team has got to figure something out defensively. And I'm telling you, they got a lot of picks in the draft with the fire sale last year. but there's got to be a lot of regret in Washington with that fire sale last year, getting rid of all those defensive pieces that were so crucial to this team. I mean, you want to talk about shooting yourself in the foot? I mean, they did it. And when they fail late because the defense couldn't hold up, they're going to be missing Montez Sweat and Chase Young more than you'll ever imagine.
Man, I know. Could you imagine if they would have kept him? I mean, they did a fire sale, and then they finally got the culture they wanted.
Yeah, but
this is a team that would be clear.
They've had the pick, though.
Yeah.
And mind you, they're not in an easy division. All right. The Cowboys are primed to take off at any moment.
No.
The Cowboys, to me, by the way, are the same thing as the Washington Commanders. Dak Prescott can do the same thing that Jaden Daniels can in getting the offense going. They need to get the run game more involved and more consistent. But the Cowboys' offense can be explosive. The Eagles' offense, when A.J. Brown comes back, can absolutely be explosive. And the defense has been missing for me this year, but one of the better defense, in my opinion, on paper. And the Giants have proven that they can be a formidable opponent.
I mean, I would love to flip Dak and Jane Daniels and see the success. I think I think the Cowboys' weapons are head over heels better than the Commanders. It's good to see Terry McLaurin being used the last 2 weeks, though. I like seeing Scary Terry getting back in the swing of things, which is great. I don't know. Like, I have a lot of family that are Commanders fans. My grandfather, my aunt who just commented, like a lot of my family on my dad's side and a little bit on my mom's side. Like, it's great to see. I root for them just because of them. Like, I would love to see the Commanders do good. Culture's great. It's great to see culture.
Be a nice change of pace.
Dan Quinn, as much as the shit he went through in Atlanta, get it. The sizzle wear it off with him after the Super Bowl and the year after when we lost to the Eagles 15-10. But he is a player's coach. He preaches brotherhood. That was always his motto in Atlanta. He's the kind of guy that can embrace the culture with Magic Johnson and Josh Harris. I believe that's the owner's name, Josh Harris.
I'm not saying this team can't be successful, and Dan Quinn can absolutely get him there. But this team is missing serious defensive pieces for them to sustain long-term productivity and success and get them into the playoffs, let alone deep.
They're in the right direction, but they're missing a few pieces for sure.
Yeah.
I mean they're
definitely coming up. They're definitely on the up and up.
They got the Ravens in 2 weeks. Are we giving them any shot?
Well, let's talk in a couple weeks because let's talk battle of the Beltway. But shout out to the teams that last year, the number two team that drafted the Texans, they kind of came out of nowhere. The number 2 team this year in the draft, the Washington Commanders. So that trend, maybe that whoever gets number 2 pick next year, maybe they trend up too. So that's 2 years in a row.
No, in my opinion, this is and you look at who they played this year. Jaden Daniels lost his opener against the Bucs. The Bucs, I think, have a pretty good defense. A close win against the Giants. Beat out a late game, in Cincinnati. We know how that Cincinnati defense is. And then blew out the Cardinals. When you talk about going against the Ravens in 2 weeks, I mean, you're talking about going against a real defense. I think even the Browns. I think this is going to be, I think, the game coming up where the Browns get right against, on defense and kind of get the nucleus back together.
Well, speaking of Browns,
that's why I said Daniels has a couple games coming up where you're going to see that he's a rookie. He has some tough defense coming up.
Veteran ends like Myles Garrett, some veteran secondary like Ward. It's going to be a very difficult battle for him. They have him at home, which is at least a bonus, but then they're going to go into Baltimore, and I know that's still a close game for them. But these are, I think, 2 defenses, historically defensive teams that are going to come out and really start, I don't want to say exposed, because I don't think that he's not showing what he's capable of. But I think, like Jake said, this is where you're going to see the rookie mistakes, the rookie mentality. Trying to do too much, maybe scrambling, holding on to the football longer than he should because he's been used to playing Swiss cheese. And guys, if you wait 4 seconds, guys will get open. And I don't think you see that. He's going to have a huge step back in these next 2 games. And again, this is where the Washington defense is going to be their crippling power, because if the defense can stand up, the offense can definitely keep them in the game. Even if they're playing elite defenses and they're running into roadblocks, Jaden Daniels can at least keep them in the game. I have no doubt about that with Terry McLaurin, Brian Robinson out of the backfield.
Devontae Adams soon.
Honestly, that would be a team that I root for, but I think the defense is going to be what kind of loses it, and I think even the Browns are going to come out and put up some points on defense.
Speaking of the Browns, because this is the last topic of the NFL before we jump into some crazy college talk. Cleveland Browns, this is just a quick topic. I'm fucking tired of them. Not because of pick'ems, but watching a coach, and I liked Kevin Stefanski, but it's time for him to go this year. It really is. The fact that you get to third down and then you get to fourth down and 3 with 1:06 left on the game clock. You have 3 fucking timeouts at the 13-yard line. You run a quick play just in case you don't get it so that you can get the ball back and stop them on 3 downs. You let the clock go all the way down to 41 seconds, call a timeout, and then a terrible play that nothing happens. So then, of course, the Raiders win. I'm tired of the Cleveland Browns. The O-line looks like shit. Watson looks like shit, and he's getting beat up. The coaching is a nightmare. Nick Chubb is the last saving grace for this team if he can save this team. Otherwise, let Nick Chubb go and fire Kevin Stefanski because I'm sick and tired of this team.
I have so much with this topic, specifically on the timeout thing. And this is where it begs the question, is Vegas stepping in? Because there's been a lot of talk lately with some plays and folks diving down at the 2-yard line and some other things. I don't know if you saw 95% of bets the other day took Mahomes over 19.5 rushing yards. Took 3 knees, lost 13 yards on 3 knees. That brought him to 17 yards. And you've got to wonder. And when you talk about something controllable, and I say this because I've seen it more times this year than I can ever remember in my life, of coaches letting the clock take 20, 25 seconds off and then using the timeout and like, what in the hell are you doing? What do you like? Why even call it at that? But the funny thing is when they do call it, they're like under center ready to snap the ball.
And they were,
and then you call it, and it's like, where was that 25 seconds ago when you guys could have prepared for the play? You guys could have prepared your next 3 plays to be a hurry-up offense and be ready to go. I don't know what is going on this year, but I've seen so many coaches letting clocks wind down and then calling the timeout like it's planned that way. Like it's, hey, we got to make a blunder here, take 20 seconds off so Vegas doesn't look that obvious. I don't know. Just throw the goddamn interception right to the defensive lineman if that's how you want to do it. But the mental lapse, Stefanski, he fucked up, but this is not like a Stefanski thing. This is a global pandemic that I'm seeing across the NFL and NCAA with coaches like not calling timeout when they need to. And not that they're not calling when they need to, but like deliberately letting time run off, seeing that clock tick and then going, what? Oh, shit, 36 seconds left. Yeah, let's call it. There was another game the other night.
There's been terrible clock management.
Who the fuck was it the other night? Was it the Sunday night game? I don't remember if it was that or it might have been the Miami Virginia Tech game talking about how, like, if you called that timeout when you should have.
Oh, yeah.
There's a minute on the clock. There is a minute on the clock for this last drive. That was another prime example. The Virginia Tech coach held on to that ball, threw a screen pass, some bullshit, let it go down like 20, 25 seconds, and then called the timeout. And even the announcer just kept saying it over and over. There's a minute left if you called that timeout when you should. What the hell was he thinking?
I'm just sick of Kansas.
And then the refs overturned that touchdown call. Are you kidding me? Tell me Vegas didn't step in on that.
We're going to talk about that in about 10 minutes, Doc. That's coming up. So I'm tired.
I was so heated on that game, dude.
I don't even think the Browns, but I'm just sick of them. They're pissing me off.
The Browns are going to
brown out with the defense.
The Browns are going to brown.
This is on paper, in my opinion, a top 2 or 3 defense. They've got to figure something out. Fire the defensive coordinator. I don't know. You got to do something. You got to make a change. This team is an incredible defense, and if they're not clicking and you're not figuring out why, it's time to bring somebody in who can.
All right. Well, it's time to switch over to the college land. And, guys, we were kind of worried about we weren't worried. We were kind of hoping they were going to fall off. But there was going to be a lot of regression in the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I think they said, we're back. Or we never left. Alabama, at the time, number 4, went into number 2 or hosted number 2, Georgia. They were up 28-0. They were up 37.5. And then they went conservative. Carson Beck woke up. The Georgia Bulldogs defense woke up. They took the lead, 34-33. Georgia was back, and then Ryan Williams, probably arguably the play of the year.
That
Move of
play
the year,
was that second spin especially was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Alan kept saying, "Oh, and shout out to Alan." I wanted to say we're talking about the Commanders. He's probably punched in the air because he wanted Jaden Daniels, but Alan was like, he said 2 or 3 different times on like Sunday.
It was nasty.
Yeah, it was nasty. He kept seeing retweets after retweets, but they took the lead, got the 2-point conversion, 41-34. And speaking of missed PIs, Kirby Smart asked the ref, "That's not fucking PI." It was PI. I mean, he swiped the defender, swiped the Georgia receiver, and then Beck threw it inside his Jordan. Bama goes in. They're back to number 1 now. Should they be number 1? I don't think so after allowing that lead, but they're number 1.
If they won 30-7, yeah, they're number 1. But they let them come all the way back.
But they're back though. I will say that.
First of all, I don't remember that receiver's name because I just started learning about him this week.
Ryan Williams,
yeah.
17 Williams, freshman.
Yeah, Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams needs a suspension, in my opinion, with that eye black. That shit is unprofessional. That shit is unprofessional. Promotes violence. The NCAA cannot allow that shit to happen.
You can't even point gun fingers at people. Like, you can't even do that in the sports. So,
but to literally put on your face, kill everybody, like that's unacceptable.
He means beat him in the game.
I understand. Then put something like that, like saying kill everybody, is unprofessional and not okay. Well, and I'm not saying it's because I don't like Alabama or anything like that, but
he did kill that corner.
Kill that corner though.
He did kill it. That was. It brings up questions because Georgia's got to play Tennessee. They got to play Ole Miss, Texas, Alabama. They kind of quiet some doubters that had doubters of Kellen DeBoer. Kellen DeBoer is actually a pretty good coach. Maybe people just forget, not realizing that. Alabama looks legit, like they do. Milroe looked fucking amazing. Looks great.
I'm not worried about Alabama's defense because I think what it was. You see it in every sport late in the game. The defense lets off the gas or the offense lets off the gas, and it really turns. Hockey's a big one you see it in because when you got that third period lead, and my Blackhawks were historic for this, when you got that 2-3 goal lead, it literally becomes all about clearing the puck down to the other end of the ice. You're not making plays. You're not trying to drive the puck. You're not trying to score no more. You're literally just playing defense and
playing not to lose. And then
exactly. And eventually, you put enough passes, you put enough shots on goal, take enough swings, you're going to hit the home run. You know what I mean? And I think that the defense just kind of let off, thinking like, okay, we got to lead enough that we don't need to go crazy, right? We don't need to go out there, hurt ourselves, whatever. We just got to contain at this point. And I don't think anybody expected. I certainly didn't expect Carson Beck, especially in recent weeks in the offensive output. Georgia's a fantastic defensive team. That's what really wins them the ball game. I mean, the offense has put up numbers, but nothing crazy, right? Like a lot of their games are like 30-3, 34-3. The defense will win there. You're not seeing a whole lot of 60-3 games against teams where they should be winning those, right? But I don't think that that Alabama defense is a problem. I think it was like, hey, we've got this shit in the bag, and I think they counted Georgia out a little bit too soon. And, it became a shootout after that. But, yeah.
Well, Jake, are you worried? Or should you be worried? Not worried and like, oh, if we play them, we're going to lose. Should people be worried about like Georgia? Are they done for? Like they have a tough schedule. They have 2 tough road games, and they have to still play Tennessee at home.
And they haven't impressed me. I know everyone says, oh, they always struggle against Kentucky?
Yeah, Kentucky.
But they struggled. I mean, they struggled 2 weeks in a row because that was a struggle versus Bama. Yeah, Bama let up the gas at the halftime. It always happens versus good teams. I mean, like Doc said, even basketball, if a team has a huge lead at the half, there's a huge third quarter run and they make it a game. It always happens. But that's 2 weeks in a row. Georgia hasn't looked impressive. And they didn't even score a touchdown the week before. I mean, it has been their defense.
I feel bad for I said it when the game was going on. I feel bad for the University of Auburn because they come into Athens. I feel like Georgia's gonna fucking destroy them.
After the loss, yeah.
Yeah, like they're pissed off. Vanderbilt.
Everybody needs a rebound.
Upset. Hey, watch Vandy versus Alabama after Nick Saban's comments about Vandy being the weakest SEC stadium he's played in. So
Vandy has looked far from the weakest SEC this year.
So after this performance, though, I mean,
Yeah.
so it's a two-parter for you boys. Does this give you more confidence, or should I have more confidence in Texas defending the land in Austin against Georgia? Should I feel more like kind of a little more confident that we should be able to beat them after what we saw?
I mean, these are games when you're talking about powerhouse teams, when you're talking about Texas, you're talking about Alabama, you're talking about Tennessee, Missouri right now, even LSU coming back. These are teams that you can't count out in any, and we saw with Alabama this weekend. You can't count them out at any point. You got to keep the foot on the gas. You got to hold them down. You can go out there and run the ball, right? You ain't got to shove it down there and throw it offensively, but the defense still has to play. And these are the kind of games that is any given Saturday.
Yeah.
As good as I think Texas is, don't get me wrong. This is not a knock against Texas. I think Texas can do a clean sweep of the SEC, but Texas can also come out and lose to Alabama, Missouri, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, even the rivalry in Oklahoma. Like, they can come out and lose any of those games on any weekend. That's just how this conference is built.
It's a tough conference. In Jake, I'll save you the Alabama question. Are they legit, like, where we should be worried? Alabama can, in the first year of Kellen DeBoer, can go in there and they run the SEC. They go in there and they run the nation. They back.
I mean, I don't know. It's like Doc said. I mean, Bama can go in there and lose to a nobody also.
Tennessee too.
And we've seen plenty of that this year. We've seen plenty of losing to nobodies this year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's just tough. And
Okay.
I mean, even with the question with Georgia, like I don't know. We don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm sure we're going to talk Texas in a minute, but
Yeah, a couple months, yeah.
we don't know which quarterback. But
Well, we know which quarterback.
We know.
Yeah.
We know.
But
Well,
I
Allen
don't
don't.
know. Like,
Allen,
if
yeah,
I was,
Luke
if I was,
doesn't.
if you told me right now, Jake, make a bet, I'm still going to pick Georgia over Texas. You know, until Texas shows me something otherwise, I'm not going to count Georgia out.
I respect that. Let's move to the Sunshine State. Doc, you brought it up. The Miami Hurricanes, now number 8. They came back down a spot. Virginia Tech had them on the ropes. An old Big East rivalry back in the day. Virginia Tech, kind of like Georgia and Kentucky. Virginia Tech plays them pretty tough historically. We all saw it, the Hail Mary that Virginia Tech threw at the end zone. They called a touchdown, right? And if you watch further replay, and I agree with Kirk Herbstreit, I felt like the Virginia Tech receiver came down and controlled the ball, and then as soon as he landed,
before the defender touched the ball.
Yes. Now, if the defender would have at the same time simultaneously did it, then yes, because he's out of bounds, it's out of bounds. But I felt like he snatched after. Did the Miami Hurricanes get bailed out Friday night against Virginia Tech?
The
I
Miami
wish Tony was still on.
The Miami Hurricanes 100% got bailed out. And what killed me the most, and I know they have different views in New York than we get on TV, but what killed me the most is the fact that they ruled it a touchdown.
Exactly.
And that was the initial. And because either way it was reviewable. But what killed me is that they called it a touchdown to begin with, because if you were going to make a call of incomplete, it would have been in real time, not on the replay. Because what I don't understand is there was no view to see any different than like what we saw on TV. There is nothing that New York could have had that showed anything different. There is nothing that was different. There is no doubt in my mind this is a Vegas called situation.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas said this ain't it because, people had Virginia Tech on the upset. I don't know what the case is.
Someone
But
in the
this
ACC
is,
has to be good too. That's probably what it is. They need one team in the ACC.
it's crazy to me. This is not a game that Miami should have won. In my opinion, Miami's down to like 13-14, in my opinion, with that game, even with the win because of the bailout.
I mean, you hit it right in the head. It was 100% a bailout. And the fact that makes it so much worse is they called it a touchdown on the field. There was nothing showing me otherwise that you could overturn that. If you would have called it incomplete, and then try to say it was like simultaneous, they touched out of bounds, you have a better case. But you called that a freaking touchdown. There's no way that you had another angle that I did not see better to show me that was not a touchdown.
And there is. You will not change my mind. That ball was controlled coming down to the ground.
Yep.
Because when you're in the end zone, that's it. If you have possession, when you hit the ground in the end zone, whether it be a toe tap, whether it be the body, we've seen others that broke up on the drop to the ground, but they maintained possession long enough through the catch and established themselves inbounds in the end zone where they've given it to. I've literally seen where they have it, do a little toe drag, and then as soon as they hit the ground, and you're like, how in the hell are you calling that a catch? But that one, all of a sudden, he had it.
They didn't want Miami losing. That was,
and all the good teams, they get bailed out eventually. It happens, but it was unfortunate to see that go down.
If that was reversed, if Miami was catching that Hail Mary, it's called a touchdown.
I would have been more okay if they ruled it incomplete and then call stands, because again, the evidence not only did it not show different, it really didn't show shit to begin with.
That's what I'm saying. It was called a touchdown on the field.
I don't know. I don't know how you saw anything in that video that showed anything against what the call on the field was. That's what gets me. If you called it incomplete and said call stands, that tells me there wasn't enough evidence. But you came out and said touchdown on the field and said you saw enough evidence on that video to rule it incomplete. Get out of here.
It has to be clear evidence to overturn it.
Pereira even said that was a touchdown. And Pereira don't get it wrong.
Yeah, Pereira's pretty good in the booth. No, yeah, we all agree on that. And Tony in the chat and did say there's no way they overturn it, but they're saying that Friday night in the chat. So Tony and them were on board saying the same thing.
Everybody was like, "This touchdown. There's no way they overturn this touchdown."
You're gonna take it, like you said. Hey, I'm gonna take it.
They took it.
As a fan, though, you're gonna take the win and move on. And speaking of moving on, it's because Alan and Luke like to bring it up, and Jake likes to fucking stir the pot too. I know what Jake does. I talked to him the other day on the phone, and he agrees, but he stirs it. Is there a controversial topic? Is there any controversy going on in the Texas quarterback room? Quinn Ewers strain of abdomen. I'm sorry. They already said he's back. He's back. Sark has announced it. Arch Manning will go back to second string. I get it, 300-plus yards, 5 incompletions, 2 touchdowns. Is there any controversy? Should there be any controversy?
Come on. Against the worst team in the SC. There's absolutely controversy. Honestly, neither of these guys should be starting. Let's just let them deal with it in an old-fashioned duel, start the third string. Let's see what Texas is really built like.
Yeah.
My issue, I mean, I don't know necessarily if it's controversy. I mean, Ewers is their quarterback. But the issue that you have now is as soon as he throws a pick, as soon as he has a dumb play.
Oh, yeah, everybody's coming for him.
Everyone's coming for him. So now
non-Texas fans are coming for him.
Yes. I mean, you got issues now. Now you got him sitting there like, why are they not playing him? What if he loses a game? This would have never happened if Arch was playing. I mean, now you got a whole bunch of issues with the two quarterbacks. I mean, they got to come out flat out and say, this is our quarterback. I agree
with you a little bit, but in a 12-man, I don't fully agree with you because you can lose one game and still make the playoffs. It's not like the 4-man
But I'm saying, yes, but everyone's going to be calling for his neck if he loses.
Not everyone. Austin will not be. Texas Longhorns faithful won't. Allen, Luke, everyone in the chats that are fans of other teams, they will be calling for his head. Because if you look at what they're doing, it's two different. I get it. Arch threw 300 yards, and he looks explosive. And I love that he's doing it. And I love what he's going to do hopefully the next 2 years. But like I told you, Jake, the preparation, like you said with CMC, the preparation is completely different for Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. They are forcing Arch Manning to beat him by pressuring the running backs and stacking the box because the run game hasn't been as impressive with Arch. And Arch is doing his job. He's beating them with his arm and his legs. When Quinn's playing, they let off because they left the box because they trust or they know Quinn Ewers can make the throws and they know that he can beat them. So that's why his stats aren't 300-plus yards. I don't need Quinn Ewers to go through 350 yards and 4 touchdowns and run the ball for 70 yards. I don't need that from Quinn Ewers. He's a pro-style quarterback. Not saying he's going to be a great pro, but that's the way he plays. He's a pro-style quarterback. He makes the smart decisions for the most part, and that's what I like about Quinn Ewers. And I'm not going to – if he loses to Oklahoma, which he's not going to lose to Oklahoma, but if he loses to Georgia, I'm not saying, all right, start the kid. I'm not saying that. I won't say that.
Listen to me. Let me make this very – very clear as much as I can put it, okay? Because when you talk about Quinn Ewers and he's completing around 75% of his passes, okay? He's doing everything you need a starting quarterback to do. Is he getting 300 yards a game? Who gives a shit? Because he beat Colorado State 52-0. He beat a top 10 Michigan team 31-12. He wiped UTSA 56-7. Why do you need
half the
him?
game? He played half the game that game.
But that's what I'm saying. So what do you need 300 yards a game for if he's getting it done so early that the secondary's coming in?
And if it's Mississippi State he plays against, and as much as like I said, Mark Arch is doing, it's not 14-6 at halftime. It's not.
No, that game is
28-6. Maybe 28-6.
I was going to say 31.
That's fine. It's going to be 3 or 4 scores, not 1 score. Because, like I said, the run game, Jadon Blue will be playing better. You have Wisner who will be playing better at the running position because the box isn't stacked. And yeah.
Like Jake said, people are going to come for him because this is going to be people going, I told you so. If you think that he's not going to have another interception or possibly a loss this year, like, you're delusional.
Yeah.
In today's college football with NIL and how much more even the teams are being built, to think that you can – Georgia got a loss. To think that you can just come in here and clean sweep outside of being in, like, the Southwest Conference where you have nobody and, like, Liberty can dominate, like, that makes sense. But aside from that, in a Power 4, especially like the SEC, to come out and think that you can just ride undefeated unless you're Miami and get bailed out, like, you're out of your mind.
It's like I told Alan, it's not like the Clemson Trevor Lawrence situation. I forgot the quarterback that he replaced was pretty bad. I mean, and they replaced Trevor Lawrence and they went on to win the championship that year immediately. So it's not the same situation.
Quinn Ewers is doing exactly what is asked and expected of him. He has done nothing to show that he is not capable of this job. Even last year, he showed that he was capable of it. Quinn Ewers is fine. Anybody that thinks that this is Arch Manning's team, do me a favor, go back to watching your field hockey or whatever it is that you watch, or your lacrosse, your professional lacrosse, because you have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Well, and I hate the whole, like, oh, he's boring. Oh, he did.
Who gives a shit? The score ain't boring.
He wasn't good enough to make the throw in the Final Four last year. The ball hit Mitchell right in the fucking hands. I mean, it was tough. It was a tough catch still. It was a tough catch, tough throw, but he made the throw. Now,
dude, you're talking the 4 best teams out of like 136.
Yeah.
It's not always going to go as planned.
Speaking of being a bet,
are you telling me if Arch Manning is in that game last year, Texas wins? Is that what everybody's saying?
I don't think.
I'm not you. I don't mean this you. Yeah. I don't mean this you. But everybody out there talking about he couldn't make the throw in the Big 4. You're telling me if Arch Manning makes that throw, Mitchell somehow comes down with it?
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna stick with my boy Quinn Ewers, man. He's won me over.
Quinn's team, he's earned it.
Let's move on to the last topic. Ashton Jeanty, the Boise State running back. My opinion, should be the Heisman favorite right now. I know Travis Hunter and guys like that are up there, but Cam Ward's up there. I think this kid right here at Boise State should be, and I think he is the best player in college football right now. I really do.
Yeah, leading the nation in rushing, leading the nation in touchdowns. I mean, the guy is 4 games into the campaign, a third into the campaign, and already has more than 50% of the rush yards that he had last year. This isn't even a question, hands down. This is my Heisman hopeful right now.
Yeah, as of this moment, absolutely. I mean, his stats are as good as people have for their whole season. Like, it's
10.3 a carry, dude. Through 4 games, 10.3 a carry.
You know how much he's averaging?
211 a game.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Average 211 yards a game, dude. Like what his lowest is like what 180, like 180 or something like that. Like this is like not saying like he's Barry Sanders, but this is like what Barry Sanders was doing like that, like his last couple of years at Oklahoma State. Like impressive, man. The fact that it's Boise State, I think they're going to the Pac-12 now, or the Pac-2, whatever they're going to be. But this kid, I think he's the best player in the nation right now. I really do. I know you got your Jeremiah Smiths, Ryan Williams, the freshman receivers out of Ohio State and Alabama, and your quarterbacks Travis Hunter and all that. But this kid right here, man, best player in the nation so far, in my opinion.
Yeah,
his lowest right now. His lowest is actually 127.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, and they went against Portland State. 267, 192, 127. Nice bounce back to 259 last week. So obviously, we got to see that sustained, especially for somebody on Boise State, 3-1 Boise State, who is more than likely not going to a national championship or going to the playoffs even.
They could be the highest Group 5. I mean, like I said, the only loss to Oregon, and he still went off against Oregon.
They could. They absolutely could. So, I mean, I'm not saying he's got to be averaging his 211 per game, but, I mean, this guy comes out, he's on pace for 2,400 rushing yards. If he comes out 1,900 yards, I mean,
yeah.
I think we're talking record books at that point.
Yeah, but speaking of record books, man, I think this is one of our best shows on the record. I mean, I liked it. It was a fun episode, man. Tomorrow we're back. We're going to do some previews. Some games we got to preview, boys. Some decent college games this week, too. Jake, Florida, UCF, man. Luke versus you this week. Battle of Florida. But,
Let's go Florida! UCF
yeah,
played so well last weekend, you know. I see them taking a step back this week.
Yeah, well, yeah, can't wait though. We have some big games this week to talk about. Doc, your Bears are playing. I don't think any of our teams are on bye week this week yet. I think all our teams are playing.
No, we got a later bye than usual this year.
Falcons have a decent. I think we have like a week.
We're usually like week 4 or 5.
Niners. Yeah. The Niners been on bye week all season, so.
Damn, that's tough.
Falcons been in a 1-score game every single week. It's fucking stressful. Every single week.
Or the Falcons can't score a touchdown. That's their issue.
Hey, man, you know, it happens. We beat ourselves. We had Bijan fucking perfect wide receiver screen out there.
Getting 20 yards a game or what?
Yeah.
Well
there's another Breece Hall that ain't getting utilized right.
Kyle Pitts with 0. How about that?
Stop drafting him.
Stop playing him. Good.
This is just not the year of the tight end, dude.
It really
It's not.
Tight ends across the board are just terrible.
Luke put in the chat, PFF had Isaiah Likely number 1. And, you know, I'm not a huge PFF guy. And I was like, damn, they have him number 1. He only had 1 big game. And Luke's like, I'm just telling you what the screen said. And I was like, damn, there really has been no other tight end than Isaiah Likely's 1 fucking big week.
I mean, Gesicki's probably up there. I mean, he had 1 good game. I mean,
everyone's like, see, I told you Sam Laporta's not the guy. I was like, well, no tight end is the guy this year.
No,
it's
no
not just Laporta.
I mean,
Kittle, I think has been my favorite this year.
Yeah, Kittle looks good.
I mean, Bryce had a couple good games too.
And Cole
Kmet had a huge game
too.
Yeah, but
Cole Kmet had a huge game, but it's hard. It's hard for Kmet to get targets now when you got the wide receiver trio they got.
Yeah.
I mean, McBride I think had a couple good ones, but not like great. Just a couple like, you know, decent ones. But yeah, not the year of the tight end, but the year of the running back was the year of the kicker. But the year of the speaking of kicker, shout out to you once again, Cube, man. What a dog out there for Atlanta.
It's been year of the kicker too, though. I mean, what
it's
are they?
Kind of
they're like 90% from 50+.
Shout out to you too, Aubrey. You know, way to let the Vegas win that one. Good, congrats, man. Missed your first ever 50+ yarder.
Yeah.
Love how they said it was rigged. I don't think that one was rigged, but
that was rigged.
Whatever. Hey, we're gonna be back tomorrow. Like I said, All About the Boss podcast. That's Jake Winnikine. That's Nick the Doc Circowens. I'm Mark Davis, and we'll be back tomorrow night. See you guys. Have a good night.